The old priest sat in the courtyard, gazing out over the grey sea. The novice who attended him leaned forward and offered a cup of water. Gildas drank. Gildas the wise, some call me now, he thought, and some Gildas the historian. What little do men really know of wisdom or of history, to bestow such titles so easily. Where was I, Finian? You were speaking of your days in Britain, Holy Father, before you first came here to Gaul. Long before you were born, Finian, and well before the Black Plague, which the annals record as the Great Death. At first I thought it was God's punishment for the sins of my countrymen. You may have read my writings on the ruin of Britain. Well, all the kings whose sins I set out in that book perished of that plague, or died shortly after. But so many good men and women too, so many innocent children. So many died there were not enough left living to bury the dead. How could God reap such a terrible harvest? Tell me, Finian, do you think it is best to retreat to the deserted places of the world, to pray and wait for the day of judgment? Or does paradise exist somewhere here on earth, if only we have the wisdom or the courage to find it? Now it was Finian's turn to gaze out to sea. As a boy in Ireland, I heard ancient stories about the islands of the Blest, that lie far west across the sea, where it was said that the people are forever young and forever happy. I have also heard travellers' tales about seafaring holy men from Ireland and from Britain, who sailed west to seek the promised land. Tell me more of this, Finian. So Finian told Gildas about Brendan the navigator, about how Brendan, who was abbot of his own monastery, heard of monks who made many voyages across the western ocean to a distant and fertile land. So Brendan chose 14 of his monks, built a wooden framed boat covered in ox hides, and set forth. They visited many islands and had many strange encounters, with great beasts of the ocean, fiery mountains, towering pillars of ice, thick ramparts of fog, until at last Brendan and his companions made landfall. And the land they found was full of fruit and flowers and fresh water. They explored for many weeks, until they came to a great river that they were unable to cross. Beyond the river they could see that the land continued, but here Brendan and his companions met a young man who spoke their own language. He told them they must now return home, for the land beyond was God's own country, and would be revealed to others only after many centuries had passed. At the end of his story, Finian said, I do not know whether these distant islands truly are the promised land, but surely we must try to seek to better our lives in the days given to us, and not simply turn our backs on the world and wait for the day of judgment. Thank you, Finian. It seems to be the way of this world that young men seek adventure but think little of death, while old men seek security and think much of life beyond death. Now I wish to be alone. So Finian left the old monk. Gildas closed his eyes, listened to the sound of the sea pounding the cliffs. On what strange shore will the ship of my soul be beached when my life's voyage is over? I have survived dark times in this last age of the world. Others have not been so fortunate.